But for those who don't know, Availity, we are a healthcare IT company headquartered here in Jacksonville, Florida. We do a lot with Java on the back end, .NET, a lot with React, a lot with Node. We used to do some with Angular, but React ended up taking that over pretty quick. We hire a lot of software engineers. We hire a lot of QA, a lot of product owners. I feel like we're always hiring. We're fortunate during these COVID times. We did not have any furloughs. We didn't have any layoffs. As a matter of fact, we've hired 100 and something more people this year than we did in 2019. So we're definitely seeing that growth. And the best part, though, is being forced to work remote. We actually have a lot of managers who are more remote friendly. So if you don't live in Jacksonville and are interested in work, definitely check out our careers page, and I'd be happy to talk about any position we have open.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
And that the careers page, that's availity.com/careers.
Yeah.
Cool. Is anyone here from Brooksource by chance?
I'm looking at the guest list and I don't recognize any of the names.
Well, I'll still just give a shout out to them. Brooksource, they're a recruiting company. They've also been sponsoring and supporters of the React Jax meetup since the beginning. So a huge shout out to them. I'm sure if you want to contact them, you can go to their website or shoot me a message and I'll put you in contact with them. So yeah, without any further ado, Nicolas, do you want to introduce yourself and show us the project?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Nicolas Olivares. I've been here in Jacksonville for about 18 years. I'm originally from Chile. I came here, my wife basically dragged me here. That's how I got to the US and to Jacksonville specifically. I've been a teacher for the last 17 years, ever since I moved here. I'm still teaching. And in April of this year, I started the UNF fullstack bootcamp. I just finished in October. And when we did 2 projects that were fully full stack, back to front, the whole thing. And what I'm going to show you now is the very first one, and it's the first time we use React. So our assistant instructor was Travis King, and he, when he saw our project almost towards the end, he suggested that we should present it here, since it was fairly complete. It has authentication, and then again, it's our very first attempt at React. We barely knew what we were doing, but we made it work somehow. So without further ado, let me, if I may share on my screen. I'm gonna put here the, on the chat, I'm gonna put the GitHub of the project. It's called WebKey. And all it is, it's a glorified bookmark app where you can copy links and filter them by tags or by name, by title, and you can store and keep all your bookmarks and retrieve them at any time you want. So I'm gonna try to share my screen. There we go. That's the GitHub. And this is the app. I was asking a minute ago for Heroku, because Heroku is not cooperating with me. But this is in my computer, the local host. This is what the app will do. It only works if you are registered. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything for you. You just need a username and password. I'm gonna do Nico9, password 9. And what it does is that I can add links, like Hulu, for example. a name, a description, a tag, fun, movies, TV, and you create the link. And then you're gonna have tags, fun, movies, TV, you're gonna have the link. You can edit it. For example, I can change the tags or add a tag. I can save it. Right now, I only have one link there. I'm gonna go back to my other user, Nico, that has more. And I can filter, for example, I can click on one link and it will show me all the ones that have just that one tag, or fun. I can also search tags, like for example, and that is not really a search, it's a filter. So if I click F, it's gonna show me fair and fun. If I do U, only fun, and so on. And I can go back and it will show me both or all, or cancel it there. And the search links is the exact same way, it's also a filter. So I could do an N and it's gonna do those two, or E and it will do Netflix and so on. And when you click on the link, it will take you to it. So I'm not logged in this browser, and it will add a count to how many times you clicked on the link. So it's a really basic app, but we're pretty proud of it. We built it from scratch, all the way from the back to the front. We were a team of 3. It was Brett, Cosi, John Marcello, and myself. Towards the end, Brett, both of them really got hired soon after the boot camp, and they weren't able to come. But I finished it, and I think we're pretty proud of it. This is in the authentication part. It has a token that lasts a week and that gets stored in the local storage. And that's really about it. And if there's any questions or comments, we're pretty excited to be our very first React. We use hooks, not classes. We were taught with hooks, and that's what we did.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the authentication, are you using a third party, or did you roll out the authentication yourself?
We did it ourselves. We did JWT and Bcrypt.
Right on.
Yeah.
This looks really awesome. I really like it.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. It's incredibly simple, but it encompassed everything we learned. Pretty excited.
I have a question too.
Hey, Jitesh.
Hey, so quick question. Like, what is the backend database?
Postgres.
And Node.js, I'm assuming, on the server? Node.js with Node.js, is it? Backend is Node.js, right?
Node, yes. Node and, right. Postgres and Node, yes.
Okay. I'm just curious to see the Bcrypt part. You mentioned JWT, but then authentication cannot be JWT, right? Actual login password.
That's a token.
Yeah, that's just for the front end token. But the actual login, are you hashing an MD5 hash or B?
Right. Bcrypt is a hasher, and that is happening in the backend. The token is also happening in the backend. The creation of the token, the storing of the token happens in the front end.
Okay. All right. And the verification.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
What would you say is like the most fun part of like building this whole project from scratch?
The whole thing was lots of fun. We especially, by the time we got to React, we knew very little. They kind of threw us out there. They gave us the most basic of instructions, and we had to learn by swimming. I can tell you the most challenging part, and I think that's kind of exciting. I'm pretty proud of this whole, in the sense of tables, there's a tags table that is separate from the actual links table, right? And they are many-to-many. And putting them together when you create a link, a new link, and you add these tags, it goes and it creates a link and creates the tags immediately, and it checks to see if the tag is already created or not. And if the tag is created, it just adds to the join table saying we have a new relationship. If it's not created, it creates the tag and then creates a relationship. And when we delete them, is the same thing, because here, when you may not see it, but if I delete fair, and that's the last fair that there was, it's gonna delete the tag and delete the join tables too, and that whole thing was pretty complicated. And like right there, fair went away. I'm really proud of making that whole thing work. It was, I began with a function that was like 200 lines. And I finally refactored it and I divided it into 5 smaller pieces, and now it's manageable and good. It's working.
Great job, Nicholas. This I know you said this app is simple, but you're still covering a lot of really important concepts for a web application. You talked about some of the challenges, and Cap, you totally stole my question, but I knew you were going to ask that. My question for you then, Nicholas, is what did you, since you were learning React, what were some of the challenges, or what did you really like about React, or what did you really dislike about React? It's always great to get a beginner's perspective. Some of us have been using React for a long time, and so as React changes, it's good to hear how beginners are liking or having trouble interacting with it for the first time.
I love how modular it is, the whole component aspect of it. I like how you can pass, how you can reuse modules, but at the same time, I find it challenging the reuse of components, the reusing of components. In my next project, the one we did after this, Capstone, we made a profile component that we reused it like 6 times. We used the same component for login, for registration, for editing the profile, and I think we overdid it, to be honest. So I'm still struggling with, do you strive for reusing up to the point where reusing becomes silly and counterproductive? Do you not reuse at all? Do you make all new components? These, for example, the register and login are the same component, right? In the login, the second password is hidden, but it's the same component. And I think here, reusing is just perfect. In my other project, we had like 10 fields. We had your whole information, first name, last name, username, password, email, tons of things. and we hit them all to leave only a couple for login, to leave only 2 passwords for registration, to leave half of them or most of them if you were like editing your profile and so on. And it got, I don't know that was the way to go, and I'm struggling with that still. It's not really something that I like or not like about React. It's something that I'm struggling with React to figure how far do you go to reuse, and at what point reusing just doesn't make any sense anymore. But I like it. I like React quite a bit. I don't know if I answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your perspective. I know what you mean about trying to find that balance when you're creating components. I know it's one of the things that you'll probably get better at as you get more experience, and you can start to look into things like composability in your components and their functionality. But yeah, I think you'll figure it out. But thank you for sharing.
No, thanks. Thank you.
Hey Nick,
Hey,
I'm
Brad.
here. I'm a little late though, so sorry about that.
No problem. Brad is one of my teammates in this endeavor. So, do you want to add anything, Brad? You probably missed the whole thing, but
I did probably miss the whole thing. I just want to add that this was a very challenging project for our first full stack web app. I think me and Nick and John, we went way up and beyond of what we were supposed to and the specifications we were given, and we continued to work on it even past that. So I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I'm glad I got to work on it with them.
cool.
Very cool, guys.
So yeah, thank you for letting us share. And, we're excited. We want to become better at it and keep growing.
Very cool. Well, yeah, thank you. That's great. You shared the GitHub link in the chat?
Yes,
Okay.
I put it in there.
Very cool. Great, yeah, thank you. So next up, we're going to have Cap from Sanity.io talk about Sanity.io. Cap, do you want to like introduce yourself and tell us all about Sanity?
Yeah, so I have slides. Should I do these slides or should I just talk to you all? What do you prefer?
I'm up for either. I don't know if I speak for everybody, but
Let me do slides. Let
Yeah,
me
I mean,
see.
if you went to the trouble of making slides, go for it.
Also, you can see the pictures of my animals that I put on there. I can't just talk about them. I have to actually show pictures, right?
Well, either that or you just hold them up in front of the camera right now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, one by one. There's 5 of them, so it might get chaotic. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, do you see my desktop?
Yes.
Okay, and then do you see my slide now?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my talk. It's how to build your portfolio. And a lot of this is like digital garden type stuff. So as you see from the slides, it's very garden themed. But yeah, let me introduce myself. So I'm Cap. You may see my name as Kapehe around here. My Twitter is Kapehe_OK. So the full name actually is Kapehe Okalani. It's Hawaiian, and Kapehe is the short version, and then Cap is the even shorter version. So that's where it evolved from. But yeah, aloha everyone, I'm Cap. I do DevRel at Sanity. I live in Las Vegas. Does everyone live in Jacksonville that's here right now? Or is everyone like kind of all over? I'm assuming most are from Jacksonville.
I think we have some maybe from Germany.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I live in Las Vegas. It's kind of early for me right now. It's only 3 p.m., so heading to the bar after this is not in my cards. But yeah, I live in Las Vegas, and I'm the proud mom to 5 animals. We have Bella. She is a Senji Chihuahua mix, and she got a medal because she's in a lot of my videos that I do on Twitter. This is Polly. She's the ultimate lap cat. This is Hilo, and she loves treats. And then here's Bonnie and Clyde. So 2 cats, 1 dog, 2 bunnies. And those are brother and sister, those 2 bunnies. So I do develop Sanity. What Sanity is, before I dive too much into all this, is a way to manage your content. So it is a backend that is fully deployable. You can deploy your backend, your Sanity Studio, and you can have all of your code and all that lives in your Sanity Studio. I will show you all what a Sanity Studio looks like if you're unfamiliar with it. And once we get to it, it is very customizable. Like if you want to put the colors of your company in it or your team or however, but very customizable. So what you see here is not fully what you have to stay with. So let me actually show you a couple of my social links. So I wanted to show you all LinkedIn. So here's my LinkedIn. You can find me here. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. And then I wanted to also show you, yeah, my Twitter. Let me pull up my Twitter. Kapehe_OK. And then I also wanted to show you my YouTube and my blog posts. I have a bunch running around. So here's my YouTube. The channel is Kapehe, which I'm surprised I got. I mean, should I be though? So yeah, so those are all my social links. But rather than sending everyone to all these different like websites and making people run around to see my content all over the web, why not? I have an idea. Why not put all my content in one spot? So that's why I am a big believer in portfolios for everyone, because we all create awesome stuff, whether it be projects or YouTube or blog posts or whatever it may be. Maybe we have a podcast or something that we're on. But the idea is, why not put all those social links or all that content into one place? So that's where we have the power of the portfolio. And so a portfolio can be really handy in like your career and your growth. So if you're looking for a job, having a portfolio is like the one true spot to have everything live. So if you have a bunch of projects, rather than sending out a bunch of different URLs, you send one URL, takes you to your portfolio, and then from there, depending on how you laid it out, it can go to all the projects that you created. It can also be a huge representation of your resume, and that is my next slide. So do I even need a resume? Yes, I think you do still. So if you're looking for like a job and portfolio is like what you end up doing, resume is kind of like a salad of your digital garden, of your portfolio. So you have the lettuce and the tomatoes and the carrots, and you've brought in a couple different things on the one-page resume that you hand over, but you definitely have that link to your portfolio, to the full garden, and there they can see all your stuff, and they can see the details. Maybe there's GitHub repos that you want to put in there. Maybe there's a blog post for a blog post that you wrote on dev.to that tells about your journey through your bootcamp or journey in creating a project. So there's so many different things that you can put in your digital garden, but on the resume, that's where you take out the bits and pieces, create a salad, and that's where you have your resume. So definitely have a resume, but portfolio but definitely link to that. So when we create, sometimes it can be hard to know where to start with your digital garden and where to like post things, what to use to create it, what you want your front end to be, what you want your back end to be. So there is a couple different places that you can go. Squarespace has awesome templates. There's Wix, or you can build it from scratch and use a content management system like Sanity and have all your content live there. And I'm going to show you all my portfolio, which is built with React, Sanity, and deployed on Netlify. My backend is deployed using Sanity. And let me pull that up. So if I went to Kapehe.io, here is my portfolio. So the cool thing about a portfolio is you make it your own, you make it what you want it to be. Mine, I love monstera leaves, I like garden type things, I like the outdoors. So that's why I put this here. Some people have cool animations, maybe you're into design and you want to show off your design skills. But yeah, so for me, I have a lot of blog posts that I've written over the past couple years, and so I put all my blog posts here. Everything you see here is saved into my Sanity Studio. We also have like YouTube, so I have a YouTube channel and I put some of my content here, and then like an About Me page. Social links, so rather than giving all these links to my social stuff, it's all just living right here. So with the one Kapehe.io, with that one URL, everyone gets that and they have access to all the content that I've created rather than chasing all this around. Like for example, my blog posts, some of them are in Sanity, some of them are on dev.to, some of them are on scotch.io, some of them are on Auth0. So my content lives all over. And so when you create a portfolio, you kind of own this little like corner of the internet and it's yours and you have all your content in one spot. So yeah. Now let me show you my studio. Pull it over. Okay, so here's my studio. Now in here, this is what the studio looks like. So this is Sanity, and to get it going, you would have to install the Sanity CLI. And if you would like more in-depth on that, I actually do have a guide, Build Your First Blog Using React and Sanity, that you can look at. If you go to Kapehe.io, you can find this blog post. Also, sanity.io/blog will also have this guide. But if you'd like to create with React and Sanity, this is an awesome spot to start. For my studio, I have a couple different document types. I have posts, I have author, I have YouTube videos. I'm not really using categories, so I won't go into that. But here, I will click on this one. This is where all the content lives that you see on my front end. So slugs can be generated or it can be specific, and then author, this references this content type over here. So if you click on that, if I wanted to add someone, I would just click on this little like arrow box thing, and that would be how I can add something. But with post, I'll go back here. I have referenced that author type, and because I only have one author, that's the only one that would pop up. And then really cool thing about this whole setup is I don't have to worry about responsiveness for my images. So sometimes we have to upload like a landscape version, a panoramic version, whatever it is. So in here, if I do edit, one image upload, and I can edit this to be however big I want, but I can also keep it big. I can make this smaller, and I can make that S be the focal point of the picture. So whatever screen you're displaying your stuff on, whatever the focal point is, it will figure it out and it will adjust to whatever you need. And so you can see all these different versions of it. So panorama would look like this, square would look like this, and if I move this over, that focal point changed, and so the square adjusted, and like with all of them. So there's that, and then the body of the text. If I click to activate and then I open that up, this is just like a TLDR for my blog post, and then where you can find it, because I'd rather link people to, but that's personal preference. And then the artwork, of course, credit. And yeah, so this is where all my content lives for all my blog posts. Now, let me get back to here. So some ideas of what you can put on your portfolio. You could put blog posts like we saw. If you have like a dev.to or you've written for CSS tricks or whoever, this is an awesome place to put all the blog posts that you've written into one spot. Projects. People want to see your projects. If you're applying for a position, this is huge, you know, because this is where they want to see that, like what projects you've created, how you are with your code, because when you have a projects page, you can also have links to your GitHub, you can have links to the project itself, you can have links to anything that pertains to this project. And so it's like the ultimate resume. It's not just like, oh, I built this. It's, no, I built this, let me show you how I did it. So projects is a huge one. Courses, if you've created any courses, you can have your courses live there, free or paid, depending. Podcasts, whether you create your own podcast or you've been on a podcast, you can get that link and put it in there. YouTube videos, or if you were on someone else's channel, so if you have, say you were a guest on my channel, you can use the link and put it in your portfolio, and now you have access, or now you can show people who visit your portfolio, hey, I was also a guest on this YouTube channel. An about page. So the about page can be fun because you can have like a fun fact about yourself, what you like to do outside of coding, or a headshot, and whatever it is, whatever you want to put in there. The about page is can be super fun. Then social links, of course, we definitely want to put social links in there so they can reach us. It doesn't have to be necessarily Twitter, but maybe you have Discord that they can reach you out, or whatever it is, but a way to get a hold of you. And then that also ties in with email. If, and you don't necessarily have to be looking for a job to have a portfolio. Maybe you have just the desire to have all your content live in one spot. Maybe you are an educator, maybe you're a teacher and you want people to learn from your code. And then maybe they have a question about a project that you may have had and you want them to be able to reach out to you. Or maybe they have an idea of a YouTube video that you can do for your channel. I do get that a lot, like, oh, can you create this YouTube video? I would love to see how you would do it. And although I'm not looking for a job right now, I have these social links so people can find me and they can give feedback and that kind of stuff. So social links and email for all the communication. And then testimonials, maybe you have, so LinkedIn has those like testimonials at the bottom of your profile that's like, I worked with so-and-so and X, Y, and Z was really great when they, you know, so testimonials on your own portfolio, so people can see maybe you had a project for a client and you're like, hey, could you just write a quick like paragraph about my work, and then you can put that on there. Or maybe some comments from a YouTube video that you've created, or a comment from a blog post. Testimonials are great because it shows that people are appreciating your content, but they're learning and they're growing from what you have created. So creating your digital garden, there's a lot that goes to it, but let's talk about how to get that portfolio in front of the right people. So who do you want to send that to? Potential future teams. If you're looking for that job, definitely get that portfolio link in front of whoever is hiring, whoever would benefit from seeing this. Twitter, tweet about your portfolio. If you have a Twitter account, definitely like show it off. There's no shame. There's no shame in being like, I created this portfolio. It's still growing because it's my digital garden, but yay, check it out, you know. Family and friends. My mom, I always send my portfolio to her, even though she's like, I don't know what these words mean. I'm like, Mom, just look at it. It's cool, right? And she's like, yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, definitely family and friends. They may not know what's going on, but they would love to see it. Learning devs, this is one of my favorite ones because whatever stage you are at in the web development learning process, everyone can learn from everyone. Maybe you've coded in Angular your whole coding career and you really want to learn React. And so your React journey takes you to a portfolio where someone used a lot of React in their projects. So people who are learning any type of code, and maybe you can provide that missing piece that they were trying to find, or they can reach out to you and say, hey, I really like this project that you did. Can you tell me how you did this part? And so it just kind of creates that web of like communication in the tech industry, especially right now, because we don't get to see each other at conferences, or we don't get to meet up in real life at meetups. And so this creates that connection still. And then the power of SEO. I mean, it's hard to kind of get your portfolio above YouTube as in like SEO world, but if you have like unique content, or you wrote a blog post that wasn't on anyone else and was specifically just on your portfolio, and then make sure you have those keywords in there, but you can have that power of SEO so they come straight to your portfolio. A paid one that I've used in the past is clearscope.io. You put in the text from your blog post, and it will give you a grade on how optimized it is for SEO, and so more people can find your content, because we just want to get our content out there. We want everyone to learn, but ClearScope is a really good option. Check it out if you can. All right, so demo time. I'm just going to show you guys some of the coolest things about Sanity that I've used in my portfolio. Let me pull that up. So I've already kind of been demoing this for you all, but at Sanity, let me get rid of all these. So my front end is React. My back end, where all my content is living, is Sanity. This was all styled with Tailwind and deployed on Netlify for the front end, and then Sanity for the Sanity part. Now, both of these tabs that I have are hosted. So this one is used with the Sanity deploy command, and all you have to do is pick what you want the front part of it to be, and then this is from Netlify. And then if you want to do just straight deployment from Netlify, it would say netlify.app, but I was able to get my custom domain in there, and that's why we see kapehe.io. Now, recently at Sanity, we had review changes launched. So review changes is the ultimate like team thing, but also individual if you don't want to use review change, because I use this a lot. So review changes is, let me click on, we'll do author. So if I wanted to update my name to be Kapehe_OK, I come here and I can just update OK. And then I hit publish. And then now it's published, document is now published. Come over here. I'll give it a refresh. And the place that I am using this is right here. And did you see that upload? I should have waited a second. But it used to just say Kapehe. And so now I've added the OK, and almost real time it updated. But review changes is, if I go down, oh, I shouldn't have published it so quick. Review changes, if I come right here, it brings a little sidebar on the side, and it shows me things that I've changed and who changed it. So if you had your team, and let's say, I don't know, Taylor was on my team, and he was in here, and he made this change. He's like, oh no, we just want just your name. We don't want your whole Twitter handle. So I took out the OK part. I would hover over this, and it would say Taylor Johnson right there. But because I did the change, it says my name. So yeah, if I wanted to do multiple changes, like we'll do and working out, and we'll do an exclamation mark here, I guess. So right away, it shows that change. If I wanted to do currently lives in Las Vegas, you see right away as I'm typing that review change coming up. Now here I have two changes to do to two different like spots, and so we see these two. If I want to revert these changes, I can do that for each individual one, or I can revert all the changes and River at all? Yeah. So then it takes it back to what it was before. So yeah, that is, so in the Sanity Studio, every time I updated something in here, it would show up in my portfolio. So you could send, let's say you have a team of people and you sent out the studio. You have to give admin access. So manage.sanity.io is where all of your projects would live. So in there you would give access to people, admin rights, or just read write rights. That's hard to say, read and write rights. But yeah, so it's really awesome for like team collaboration. But with portfolio, it's just going to be me really kind of working on this. But it's really nice to have like that real-time effect of, oh, I really wanted to add a blog post. I come in here, I hit this little marker thing right here, and I can create a whole entire blog post, and it would show up in my blog post right away. So especially with your digital garden, because stuff is being updated and changed, and nothing ever stays the same. So we want to be able to like update it easily. Having the Sanity Studio allows for that. Now, the most important thing about a portfolio is making it the best representation of you. So although mine looks like this, and there's a lot of leaves all over it, there's a big red nav bar at the top. It may not be your style, but that's what makes portfolio so awesome, is making it you. So where do you begin? You could begin at, and I will show you, sanity.io/create. We have a bunch of starters here. You can make a blog, an e-commerce site. All of these are just like templates for you. Portfolio with Gatsby, because we're talking about portfolios. But here you can get like that template, and it gives you a front end, and it gives you the back end. So you do create project. You would sign in with all your things, give it a name, and for GitHub, and then connect it to Netlify, and it will deploy all of this for you. So if you wanted to begin and create a portfolio, you don't have one, this is a super awesome place to start. But yeah, sanity.io/create. And then, so you can find me. You don't have to remember any of these links. All you have to remember is kapehe.io. And then you can find all my other social links. But you can find me at kapehe.io. And if you do create a portfolio, or if you already have one, I'm on this big portfolio kick right now. And I think they're so fun because people create such beautiful like blogs or portfolios. And I love seeing them. So if you would like, my DMs are open on Twitter. You want to send over your portfolio, or if you want, you can send it in the chat right now if you already have one, and we can look at it and congratulate you for doing all your hard work, because it's not easy to get all your content in one spot. But yeah, mahalo everyone. That's thank you in Hawaiian, and that is it. Any questions?
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I have a question just about those. Like, it seemed like a super simple setup on like were those like templates, and you just like connect your GitHub, like find a template you want, and then connect like GitHub and Netlify, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah. So if you want, you could. Let me just do this one. So these are templates, and in here, once you connect to GitHub and once you connect to Netlify, let me just connect. Oh yeah, I definitely have done this template before, but we'll do 2. Yeah, 2 works. And then connect to Netlify. Authorize. And then when I hit create project, so here I've logged into my Sanity, so you would need to get a Sanity account. Log into Sanity, log into GitHub, and log into Netlify. And we're gonna get a template that, or a website that kind of looks like this. Create project. And while it's creating, it's actually going to give you the commands for this whole thing. So you can clone into it, you can CD into it, and a repository is actually being made on my GitHub right now. We can open that repository, and right here I have all the code, and I can go in and I can edit all of it if I don't like how it looks, but I just wanted that like initial setup. I can come into, so the web would be the front end part, Studio would be the back end part, that's where Sanity Studio would live. So web, I can come in here and I can edit however I need. And then Studio, this is where like, so like sanity.json is where all my Sanity stuff lives, especially my project ID that will link to your manage.sanity. And schemas, if you don't like, so here we have, let me look at, so schemas, we have the documents, we'll have category, person, sample project, site settings. If you wanted to edit that, you could. So on mine, on my portfolio, let me show my code real quick. My studio is called My Sanity Blog, and my front end for my React is called Source. So in here, my schemas, I have post, I have author, I have YouTube, and I have YouTube videos. Now category I'm not using, so I really could like get rid of that. I won't do that right now, but yeah. These are the 4 that I'm using. And then within, let's look at post. Within here, this is what my schema looks like, and this is how you can change it. So say for my post, I didn't want categories, so I would just delete that whole section, and then you would see that that is gone. If you don't want to publish at, or if you just wanted to do just a title and a slug, you can do that. The document types you can create, but this starter template will give you, not this one. This starter template will give you some to work with, and then from there you can edit as needed. If you don't like the Sanity Studio starter that this one creates, you could also use, maybe if you're creating a portfolio, you like the blog look of things. So you can like use the blog one. But yeah, these are really awesome, especially for making like an e-commerce. Sometimes that code can get like out of control, and so this is a really cool like template to start with. And then we have landing pages, an event page. So yeah.
Oh,
And
cool. I saw
then-
one was a Svelte template as well.
What was that?
There was like a Svelte JS one as well. A blog with Sapper, I think it was.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And then
have
we
like
have-
a Svelte fan. I think he may have dropped off.
Oh, nice. But yeah, here's blog with Sapper. And then we have some community starters that people in the community have created. So if you'd like to join our Slack community, slack.sanity.io, if you would like to join, definitely go there. That is a awesome spot to like get questions answered. If you build like using React or Next, we have channels specific for that. And then if you have your portfolio that you create and you want to share it, we have an I Made This channel. And yeah, we get pretty stoked in there for all the things that are being created by developers.
Really cool.
Hey, Cap.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I just wanted to first say that those slides are beautiful, and how could you think of not even sharing them with us? But then
I'm
there
so
was
proud of them.
there was a question in the chat while you were presenting.
Okay.
They asked, is that a custom WYSIWYG editor that you were showing in Sanity Studio? Someone else linked to the portable text spec that Sanity.io has in their docs, but I think the person may have been interested in the body content there is that custom? Is that something that Sanity.io created themselves?
So let me show you, yeah, so let me show you what this body looks like in code. So in post, we have, so body. Now this is gonna be block content. So what this is doing in here is, let's click to activate it and let's open it. So there's different things that we can add. Actually, let me do YouTube. Because YouTube, I know I added something. So in here, the like standard that it comes with is like normal, and then you can do like headers and stuff. Over here, you can add, why can't I click on that? There. I don't know why I couldn't click on it. But yeah, in here I have image and YouTube embed. So let's say I want to do YouTube embed. I would have the URL and then the title of the YouTube video if you wanted to do that. But that is 100% customizable if you don't like, let me show YouTube. So in here I have looking for a URL and a title. Oh, not right there, right here. Looking for a URL and a title. And then this, I had to bring in a package to get YouTube ID, like get the YouTube ID out, and use that, get a preview, use the URL, and then down here, declare that I'm about to use a URL. So getting that type of URL knows that when I click on this, that this is gonna look for a URL and not like a string, and so it'll be clickable. If that answers it.
That's kind of nuts that like the studio is also like packaged as the app, and you can just change what you want. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's really different and really cool.
So you can basically create your own, I'll say widgets, I don't know if that's the right word, but to edit whatever content you want.
Yeah, so if you wanted to add, like pro tip, like not a quote, but like a note type thing, you can add that in. You can add in videos that are not YouTube, and it's not like a URL, and it's not pulling out like that URL ID. And so that would come from Mux. We have images, so like, yeah, you can customize that however you want, and yeah, and then this whole studio is customizable. Somebody just shared in the Slack community their customization of it, and their company was, their color was orange, or maybe orange or red, and so they changed all this to be like very orange, and so it looked more on brand for them. So that was really cool. And then we also have the Presence API, which I can't really demo right now because nobody has access to this studio but me. But up here, if I was on a team, all the avatars of my teammates that were in the studio with me would show up right here. So my little avatar right here would show up on this upper right hand next to mine. I click on it, and since no one else is here, nobody shows up, but it would show the name and the avatar and then a little link on the right hand side. You click on that little link and it takes you exactly to where that person is in the studio, and maybe you both start working on something, or they're like, hey, can you come look at where I'm at? I don't know if this looks right, if this is what we want our image to be, or we don't want this content. And you can very easily like go navigate around and find people by just clicking up here, clicking on that little link, and it takes you directly to them.
That's really cool.
But you have to use this backend on the Sanity Studio website. Is it right? You can't make a copy or so to host it on your own web server.
So you could host it elsewhere. You don't have to do it on the sanity.studio. But the easiest way that I found is in the CLI, I just do sanity deploy, and then it gives you like instructions, and it will like deploy the whole thing from the command line. And all you have to do during those steps is name it. but you could deploy it on Netlify if you'd like, or elsewhere.
Okay, thank you. It's very good.
And then this content list can get pretty big. It can just, I mean, everything here, so like author, everything in my schema, these are the things that I'm using. So that's what I have like showing up. But it just depends on what you want to show up. All this can be changed. You can start, so the way you would start is you have a React application, and in the root of the folder, so I would do it not in, ignore that red, not in the root of the source, but in like the root of my whole project. I would run the command sanity init after you have the sanity CLI. So npm install at sanity/CLI. That's how you get the CLI installed. I'm not going to run these, but that's how you get it installed. If you are not logged in, you could do sanity login, or it would prompt during the like creation process. And then to get a sanity project started, sanity init. And it will walk you through all the questions of like naming it. Is the path correct? Maybe something messed up and it's putting the studio in something different, but or maybe you want it to live somewhere else and you accidentally put it here. And then once you do have that running, you would CD into your studio, whatever you named it, during the sanity init, and you would run sanity start. And that would get it running on localhost 3333. All those instructions are found right. If you wanted to do it with React, actually, I'll do the guide right here. Build your first blog using React. I will put that in the chat. Wait. Where's my chat? Can't see my chat, but I'll put it in the chat. I don't know where it went. But yeah, if you go to here, that's where I walk through. I also did a YouTube series on this, so if you'd rather watch than read. But it's getting it all started, talks about Grok, and yeah. So, any other questions?
Cap, so if you have more than one project, each project will have their own studio, is that right? Or would you have one studio for?
Okay, so you could do both. Depends on what content or how you want your projects organized. If you want a specific studio to have its own front end, and it's just like one studio, one front end, one studio, one front end, rather than one studio, two front ends, you could do that. The way you connect your front end to your studio is in source. I have an client.js. Let me pull this down. And here I'm telling my front end, so you have to install a Sanity client. I'm telling my front end, this is the project ID that I want you to read, and this is where the studio is that I want to use. You could use this project ID over multiple front ends, but that's just like preference on how you want it organized.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And then if you can't find your project ID in the studio that you create when you do Sanity init, it lives right there in the sanity.json.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I had another question for you. And I'm sure you go over this in your blog, which I will definitely be going through probably this weekend. I'm excited about that. Would you be able to show just briefly how you would access one of your schema entities Like I see you've got the schema defined here, but then in your code, if I wanted to access, the list of posts, how would I do that in the code?
So I don't ask again. Sorry, I don't know if I understood.
Oh, sorry. So I see here that you're defining all of your schemas for the different entities that Sanity Studio is keeping track of. If I didn't have a template, but I was using Sanity on the back end, and I wanted to create my own page and say, hey, list all of the posts that I have created.
Yes. So there's a way to do it, and I actually learned it today. And I don't remember the command exactly, but in your terminal, you run a command, and let me get back to you on that because I just learned it today, and I don't remember it. But it's like Sanity, like development, no, it's something like that, and then you run a Grok query to get all your data. So let me show you what a Grok query looks like. So if you are familiar with GraphQL, Grok is an in-house Sanity query language that we've created. And so in here, this is a Grok query. So if I wanted to find all the posts, the command, and I wish I would have written it down, but it's Sanity, I'm just going to say Sanity -- find all, but that's not it. And then you would put in this Grok query of like, I want to find all the types that are posts, or I want to find all the types that are author. So you would put in just this part, and it would show in the command line all the posts that you have. It doesn't live in my code, all of those, but you can grab that data by running that command. And I will get back to you on what that is.
Oh, no worries. That was actually hugely helpful. Thank you. It was really cool seeing the Grok syntax there.
Yeah, let me show that a little bit more. So we'll do it in post because this is, so in here, so like GraphQL, the asterisk is like all. So all and then underscore type that are equal to post. So everything that has a type of post would show up. But what I want to pull out is the title, the slug, the main image, and then in that main image we want to find that URL. So that's why we pull in the asset, you have to pull out the ID, and we pull out the URL. If I want something more like specific, here is my one post. So what happens here is on my blog, go to blog posts. These are all my posts, but if I want to click into one, I want to just show just the information for this one. So I'm looking at whatever slug I clicked on, that current one that I clicked on. I'm not looking for all of something. I'm looking for all of that slug, but I'm not looking for all of posts. I'm just looking for that one. And then from that, the data that I want to use on my front end is the title, the ID, slug, main image, body, and then also the author name. Now, what I've done here in this Grok is, so it's author.name, and the post references the author. So post, I'm referencing the author here, and so in my Grok query, I can right away just reference that author. I want the name of that author, and then what's happening here with these double quotes around name is I'm renaming what this means. So I could do author name, and every time I read an author name, the name of the author would show up. Same here, author image is what I've done there. I kept it like this so I could see, like I could show that it doesn't have to be called author image. Like you could call it whatever you want. And then down here, post.name, this is where the author shows up, and then post.author image is where that shows up. And then like post.title, so that would just be my title. So that's how Grok is used and how I use it in my in my front end. So like here, I'm looking for the author type. Bio, I'm looking for the first line of that bio. And this can change. I could just do just straight bio, but here I'm looking for just the first line. And I did that because I wanted to try a lot of different ways. You definitely don't have to do this. You could just straight up do just the word bio. But then same thing here, the image, asset URL. Rather than looking for this every time I want to use the author image, I've renamed it to be author image. So down here in my code, here I'm using author and author image, and then the name and the bio. Which bio I've renamed up here. Be that.
Got it. I'm shaking my head vigorously, even though you can't see me. Thank you so much for walking through that.
Yeah. Let me see what else. And then on my front end, I just have just like the normal routing. And this is how I break up my React. But I always have my components folder, and then in here, because you were talking about reusing stuff earlier, and like my nav bar is not being used anywhere, but I wanted to reuse it across my entire website. So I wanted to make sure that in my app.js, I have my nav bar being used. If I didn't want, like on some pages, my nav bar to not show up, I mean, I don't know why I would do that, but I could have put my component in 2 of these spots. Maybe on my one post page, I don't want the nav bar to be there distracting people, but yeah. And then
The only thing I'm missing is your GitHub link.
yes. And I don't know why I don't know where I can't get into the chat, but let me pull up that GitHub link for the entire portfolio. So here, if I stop sharing, I'll send all these links once I stop sharing, but for some reason I can't see the chat. But yeah, here's the portfolio for the whole thing, and I will send that link as soon as I stop sharing. But yeah, this has my Sanity blog, which is the name that I named my studio. So like we see here, that we created from that starter, is called Studio in Web. So Web, to me, is source. And then, sorry, that little thing popped down. And then Studio, to me, is my Sanity blog. And you name those when you name the studio when you run Sanity in it. It like will walk you through it. And I'll leave that up if you want to just like type it out. But I don't know where the chat went for me.
I have a really dumb question. Is the name Sanity, is that because like this is a much more sane way and like easy way to manage all these things? Because it seems like that's what it is doing.
I actually don't know where the name came from. It just like, I've never really asked, but that's a good thought. That's a good maybe reason why.
I'm just gonna believe that that's the reason. It seems
Yeah.
like it's like all the configuration, like headaches and stuff of like setting up something like this and like going in and adding stuff, like all that is just abstracted away for you and something that's like really easy to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of review changes when it came out. Let me bring it up again. Let's do that. Review changes when it came out. It was like last month or something. This was just like phenomenal for me because, I mean, at Sanity, we work in the Sanity studio for all of our content. Sanity.io and our blog and our guides, all that lives in a studio. And it's so nice because as we're working on stuff, we can see changes that were made, or say I write a blog post and my peer reviews it, I can see all the changes that they recommended. So it's like the Google Docs for content management.
Can you filter too? Like up there where it says like since published, is that like something that you can like
So
filter
this
by?
has, yeah,
Like up at the top right under changes.
oh yeah, there we go.
Oh wow.
So here is everything that's changed, everything that's been like published or edited. So I had hit that publish button too quick, and so my review changes went away, but I can always go back to what it was and revert changes if I need. But yeah, this, and then maybe you're like, hey, I'll just use Taylor again. Taylor Johnson, why did you do this change? Or, you know, and so there's a lot of team collaboration that can work very smoothly in this studio.
Call me out for all my mistakes that I'm making. All right. Any other questions? Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to send all these links so we have all of them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So here is my, I don't know where the chat went. There's my portfolio. Here is that guide I was telling you all about. Here is the repo to, I mean, this is to my portfolio, so I mean, I don't know what. There's my portfolio, and then if you would like to join the Slack community, there is the Slack. And yeah, if you end up creating a portfolio, we would love to see it. We have the hashtag I made this channel. But definitely introduce yourself if you join, and tell them where you came from. It'll be fun. React. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all this stuff. It's really cool. It's kind of mind-bending, like how easy Sanity makes all that. Even like the cloning of the template and like all your configuration is just set up. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. I don't know if anybody wants to like stick around, just like chat or more questions. Usually when I say that at the end of the meetup, everyone like leaves 30 seconds later after silence. But yeah.
I just want to say big shout out to Nicolas also. Thank you so much for sharing your project with us. And then lastly, I'll just say next month we're going to have Anthony talking about Redwood JS, which is a new full stack React framework for working on the Jamstack. So we're excited to have him next month. But I'm not going to hang out with you tonight, Eric. I'm sorry, I got to go. But thank you for the offer.
And Taylor, thanks for the invite to speak.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cap. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you all have portfolios or you create one, please send them to me. I love it. I love looking at that kind of stuff because I don't know, we create such awesome content. It's fun to share it. But yeah, my DMs are open if you'd like. I'll put in my Twitter actually. I mean, you have my Kapehe.io, but I'll put it in just in case.
Maybe in the spring we should do like a portfolio meetup and we all just like get together and.
Oh, I would love that. It'd be so fun for me.
Really cool.
We've all got homework now.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the portfolios have to be on Sanity. It's a requirement. Very cool.
Okay, I've got to run, but thank you again to our speakers. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Availity and Brooksource. I hope everyone has a great month.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you.